Hello everyone. I welcome you all again on this lecture series on transportation engineering. My name is Varun Matolia. In first lecture, we saw the geometrical design of highways. In geometrical design of highways, we studied about various type of roads or classification of roads. We saw that the roads were classified into two types. One, a urban road, the roads which run inside a city, and another one is non-urban or rural pavements or rural roads. Urban roads were divided into expressways, arterial streets, sub-arterial streets, collector streets, and local streets. Then we saw the non-urban or rural highways or roads were divided into expressways, national highways, state highways, major district roads, other district roads, and village roads. Then we saw the unevenness characteristic of pavement. We saw that a pavement should be smooth. There should not be many undulations present on the pavement. So there is an instrument or the experiment which was developed by CRRI. The instrument is known as bump indicator and it measures the undulations present on the road. There were limitations in terms of this unevenness index. We saw the limitations for a smooth road, good road, satisfactory road, and the road which is not satisfactory. Now, today we are starting with a very important topic, that is camber or cross slope. The roads on which we travel, they are generally provided with a cross slope or a transverse slope. The direction in which we move is the longitudinal direction, and the direction perpendicular to that is known as lateral or transverse direction. So a slope, a very gentle slope is provided on this transverse direction in order to drain off rainwater. The purpose of providing this slope is allow rainwater to drain off and to stop it from going into the subgrade. As you know, when water is added into the soil, it loses its bearing capacity. If rainwater percolates through various layers of this pavement and reaches the subgrade, it will definitely reduce the bearing capacity of the soil. If heavy loads run on the road and soil loses its bearing capacity, this will definitely affect in settlement of that surface. So to reduce this danger and to prevent the water from going into the pavement, this cross slope is provided. The slope is provided in three ways. One, the straight line camber, parabolic camber, and arrangement of straight plus parabolic camber. If you see in normal roads, except mountain roads, this top is made on the center, or this crown is always the center point of the pavement. The slope provided can be in terms of theta or can be explained in terms of 1 by n. Here, the width of road can be taken as w. This is y, the height of crown, or we can take y with respect to w. So if we write tan theta, it is represented by 1 by n and is represented by perpendicular by base. Perpendicular is y, base is half of this width. This is y by w by 2 and can be written as 2y by w. Here we want to know this y, the height of crown. So we can write it as w by 2n. So this is how we will calculate the height of crown in terms of a straight line camber. If we talk about parabolic camber, we can take this point, the crown, as the origin, and this tangent here is the x-axis and this perpendicular line is the y-axis. Similar type of slope is provided. You can write it as 1 by n or theta. If we see the equation of the kind of slope in which the opening is toward minus y-axis or negative y-axis, the equation can be written as x square equals to ay. So using this equation and the boundary condition, we can calculate the value of a. For x equals to 0, means I am talking about the point at the crown. We are talking about this point, the crown point. If we talk about this point, here x is equal to 0, then what is the value of y? As we discussed, this is a origin, then y will also be 0. We talk about this width and we can take it as w. Then if x is equals to w by 2, what will be the value of y? Y will be equals to y, the total height of the crown. We can write y will be equals to y. So from this equation, if we put the value of the second boundary condition into the equation of parabola, we'll find that w by 2 square is equals to a y. The value of y can be taken from here, the straight line camber. Y can be replaced with a w by 2n. So you can cancel out w by 2 from this equation and calculate the value of a. Here a is equals to n w by 2. A is equals to n w by 2. Now replacing the value of this a in this equation, we can write it as x square by, or x square equals to a by, can be written as w by 2 square equals to n w by 2, and it is equals to or it multiply by y. Now we want to replace x with w by 2. We'll keep x as x square only and we'll write n w by 2 into y. Here the y will be equals to 2x square by wn. So this will be equation of the camber when it is provided in shape of a parabola. So you should remember these results in order to solve some questions. The straight line camber is provided in CC roads because providing a curve is a bit difficult. But when there is fast moving vehicles, there is a tendency to cross this crown, and if there are fast moving vehicles, they will have a problem in crossing this crown. There will be dismantling of tires or wear and tear of tires if they crosses crown very often. So in case of fast moving vehicles, this parabolic camber is used. So you can write here it as this is used for generally for CC roads or slow moving roads like WBM, and parabolic camber can be used for fast moving vehicles. So this is the type of camber which can be provided. Let's get into the value of camber which can be provided for a different type of pavement. So from the explanation, you will be able to understand that camber is provided on the basis of type of pavement and the rainfall. Type of pavement is because if pavement is good, there is less pores which allow water to percolate through. More camber is not required, or the slope is gentle, or the slope provided can be gentle. For example, if we see a cement concrete road is a better quality of road, or a thick bitumen type road in which the pavement is having less pores. In these type of roads, if we talk about heavy rains or light rains, 2% or 1.5% camber can be provided. Similarly, for thin bitumen road, the quality is comparatively less, or we can say the road is comparatively more porous. So, for thin bitumen roads, we can say that the camber value can be 2.5% for heavy rainfall, and for light rainfall it can be 2%. You can convert the value of camber into 1 by n term. See, if we write 2%, we can write 2% as 2 by 100, and we can convert this value as 1 by 50. So this can be written in 1 by n term. In many questions, you will find the value of camber in 1 by n form. So you should not remember all these values, just remember the percentage term, and you can directly convert them into the term in the formation of 1 by n. So here, if we talk about shoulder, what are shoulders, we'll discuss it later, but you should understand that the shoulders will have a camber more as compared to the road, because shoulders are of different materials. Shoulder will be provided with 0.5% extra camber with a minimum of 3%. Then another relationship between gradient and camber. Look, when we are moving in longitudinal direction, in any direction, that direction is known as longitudinal direction. And you know the camber is the transverse slope. So when we talk about longitudinal direction, the slope provided in longitudinal direction, or the direction in which we are moving, is known as gradient. And there is a relation between this camber and gradient. Gradient can be written as 2 times of camber. So the relation between gradient and camber can be gradient is equals to 2 cross camber. If the camber of a cement concrete pavement in heavy rainfall is 2%, then the gradient for the same pavement in same weather conditions can be 4%. So this is the relation between gradient and camber. Let's see two questions. First, a waterbound macadam. Waterbound macadam is a inferior quality of road. If you see this table, before earthen roads, the placement of waterbound macadam tells us that it is inferior than a thin bitumen pavement. And if you compare the camber for this pavement, it is also comparatively higher. So it is not a very good quality of road. The surface of a waterbound macadam is provided with a soil or a cohesive sand which covers the gravels and then rolled, so that it will have a better grinding quality. This type of camber is, or this type of road is provided in village areas. So here, if we talk about waterbound macadam, if it is not a very good quality of road, what will be the speed of vehicles running on this road? There will be less fast moving vehicles. So if there are less fast moving vehicles, this means we will provide a straight line camber. So a waterbound macadam having a width of 3.5 meter is constructed in area of heavy rainfall. We have the pavement type, we have the rainfall type, and we have the width of pavement. What they're asking about? They're asking about the height of crown. So we know that the height of crown for a straight line camber can be calculated using this formula, y equals to w by 2n. So you can directly put the value here. Y equals to w by 2n. You know w is 3.5 meter. You know what is value of n. What is value of n? If it is heavy rainfall, the camber is provided as 3%, but you want the n value. N value is 3%. 3 divided by 100, it can be written as 33. So you can write as 33 and calculate the value. Similarly, question 2. So I want you to solve this question. What the specifications given here are: thin bitumen pavement, you have the pavement type, then you have the pavement width, and very important, you have a racing track. Racing track means there will be fast moving vehicles. So for fast moving vehicles, thin bitumen type road, a lane width of 7 meter will have what camber? Now you will find camber for heavy rainfall and light rainfall, and then use that camber to find the height of crown. For both heavy rainfall and light rainfall. So for heavy rainfall, you can have camber of 2.5%, and for light rainfall you can have camber of 2%. Now you can easily calculate the height of crown provided. Okay, for racing track it will be a parabolic camber. So now it is very easy for you to just put the formula and find out the answer. Moving on to next topic, the width of carriageway. Let us first understand what is a carriageway. Carry the vehicles, the space which carries the vehicles is known as carriageway. If you see, if we say the width of road is W, so this total width is allowed to carry vehicles. If vehicles are running on this road, then this space will be known as a carriageway. Carriageway can be a single carriageway with both side traffic or both direction traffic. If we have this kind of road which has only road markings, no divider or separation, then one lane will be used for one direction and another lane will be used for another direction. So this type of road will be known as single carriageway road. Single carriageway road. Now you can see that there can be any number of lanes. It can be a 2-lane single carriageway road. It can be a 4-lane single carriageway road. But when we put a divider or a separation in between these two lanes or these two directions in order to reduce the interaction between these two directions, then this becomes a divided carriageway. If there is a separation provided in between, not just markings, this is a separation. It is generally known as median, or you call it as divider. So there are two separate carriageways for both side of movement of traffic. This side has 2 lanes, this side also has 2 lanes, so we can call it as 4-lane dual carriageway road. 4-lane dual carriageway road. So this is how we define how the carriageway or the road will be labeled. So here, single carriageway road, we know if it is not divided. Dual carriageway road, we know if it is divided, then it will be dual carriageway. What is the width of carriageway? Carriageway width will depend on these vehicle. If we know the width of vehicle, we should find out the cushion which should be allowed in both sides of the vehicle, or the margins which should be allowed in both sides of the vehicle. Then we can definitely find the width of carriageway. For example, if we talk about single lane, a single lane, if vehicles are allowed to run on this road, let us say the width of vehicle here is x. So we have here some distance y here, or some margin y here. So if we know x and we know, or we can assume y, we can tell total width of this carriageway. So IRC has reduced the burden, and it has stated that the maximum permissible width for a vehicle will be 2.44 meter. Now we have 2.44 meter, and if we say y will be 0.68, this is not directly given, but you can calculate it using the single lane width. So what you need to remember, you need to remember this x value. You need to remember this x value. What is this x value? It is the width, or the maximum permissible width for a vehicle. So for a single lane, the carriageway width will be 3.75 meter. If we put 3.75 meter here and subtract 3.75 minus 2.44, we will get the two y's. We'll get these two y's, and if we calculate the value of y, it will come out to be 0.68 meter. So you can calculate y equals 0.68 meter from these values. So you need to remember the permissible width of a vehicle. Talking about the lane width, a single lane, if there is no other lane provided, the single lane should be of width 3.75 meter. If there are two lanes, then each lane will be 3.5 meter. 3.5 plus 3.5. This lane width is without raised curves. What are curves? We are going to discuss in today's lecture only. But now just remember this: without curves, the lane width will be 7 meter, and if with curves, here it is with curves, the lane width will be 7.5 meters. Then intermediate carriageway. Intermediate carriageway is the space provided to maneuvering or overtaking. So the space provided for maneuvering need not to be equal to two lane width. There should be enough width which is more than single lane. That's why the value is provided as 3.5 meter. And for multi-lane highways, we talked about two-lane highways. If there are multi-lane roads, then we can add 3.5 for each lane. If we see the cross section of a road, cross section of a carriageway, it will look like this. What are the different components? Let's look into it. This is the footpath on which pedestrian will move. Then these are the street lights which provide light on both sides of the carriageway. These are the carriageway, the blue lines, the blue thin lines which you can see. This is the space provided for the vehicles to move. The space provided additional to the carriageway till the curb line or the footpath line is known as shoulder. Like you have a head, this is known as carriageway, and your shoulder, the additional space provided, this is the same way. The roads are having the shoulders on both the sides. Then you have this utility duct. You can put various cables, various pipeline under the footpath, because footpath are made of joint bricks or connecting bricks. They can be removed easily. You don't need very high level of civil work, and many times you need this civil work to remove the pipelines or cables or defect management. So you can put these pipelines or cables below the footpath area. That's why this is provided with the utility duct. Then another very important component is curb. You must have seen curb. The white and black stones provided on the edges of the road. Today, in today's lecture, we'll see what a curb is and how it will look like. Then it is a side drain. Below the curbs and the footpath area, there are drains which will take away the storm water. Storm water, the rainfall water which gets collected on the sides because of the provided slope, that is known as camber. You can see the camber provided here on the road. Then the space between which separates the two carriageways is known as median. We generally know this median as divider. Talking about this median has to be of 5 meters as per IRC recommendation. The desirable width of this median is 5 meters, but where the space is limited, you can take the value of median to be 3 meters. On flyovers or bridges where you cannot provide a median of 5 meters, the desirable width is, or at least 5 meter median should be 1.5 meter median should be provided, and a minimum value of 1.2 meter is given. The median width should not be less than 1.2 meter. So if a question comes, the width of median should be, the directly answer should be 5 meter. Other one are recommendation if 5 meter is not provided. So the complete this footpath to footpath space is known as right of way. Right of way is the space which should be taken up by the government in order to make these facilities. If these right of way should be decided initially while acquisition of this land, because this much space is required for making all these arrangements on the payment. Then as we were talking about curves, curves are the spaces. Let's see. Okay, we'll see the photograph of curves later on. Now you can understand if it is a carriageway, the space is the carriageway. So the carriageway or the shoulder, additional shoulder can be provided here, are restricted by a stone or a space which is having some rise. So this stone or space will be known as curb. This will be known as curb. Curbs are of 4 types. First one is mountable curb. Mountable means we can mount over it. We can take our vehicle over it. These curbs are provided where we can allow the vehicles, generally two-wheelers, to mount these curbs in the case of emergency. When there are areas where a lot of congestion is taking place, we can allow vehicle to run over the pedestrian footpath and take the footpath as additional lane. So these curves can be provided in those cases, or it can be provided on the medians where we can allow in emergency condition that vehicle can move over the median. Another one is semi-mountable. It is this kind of curve can be crossed with very difficulty, but in case of emergency, it will be you can say it will be crossed by the vehicle, but it is not preferred to cross these vehicle. The spaces where the curb is used as barriers, or the we don't want people to mount over these curbs, then there are higher curb stones are provided. These are known as non-mountable or barrier type curbs. So these curbs are defined or classified on the basis of their height. Another curve is known as submerged curve. This curve is provided in order to provide lateral support to your carriageway, to your pavement. So these are the curves which are provided on the roads. Let's see how we define the road space. Here you can see a diagram. We'll one by one understand various margins provided on the road. So the space in the center, you'll find that the space is used for running vehicles. So this space is known as carriageway. The additional space by the sides of carriageway is known as shoulders, which is a extra lane. We can take it as emergency lane, but it is not actually extra lane. Then the combined width of shoulder, carriageway, and again the shoulder. And if in case medians are also provided, the combined width of shoulder, carriageway, and median can be known as roadway or formation, width of formation. The space between the road boundary, the space between the road boundary is known as road width or right of way. This space should be considered while acquisition of the road. This space will help you to predict the future, or you can plan the future expansion of the road if you have the proper right of way. Another boundary or another line which defines the or restricts any type of building activity is known as building line. If we say the road acquisition is till the road land boundary, but till building line, there will not be any building construction or building activity. While defining the building activity line, we also define a control line. The last line till which there will be control over what kind of building activities can occur is known as building or control line. So these spaces should be made while designing or planning a highway, because this helps you to plan your highway for futuristic use. Like initially you need a pavement which allow only certain volume of vehicle, but with time, with development, there will be demand of a wider pavement or wider carriageway. So for expansion you should have a pre-planned space. So here is the right of way pre-planned space, and if additional space is required, building line and control line helps you a lot. Then we'll talk about some road margin features. One is shoulder. As we talked about, shoulder is provided additional to the carriageway. This space is provided as shoulder. What are the specification of these shoulders? These are emergency lanes. Why emergency lanes? Why not regular lanes? Because the surface of this shoulder is not as smooth as the pavement. The shoulder has a rough surface. Then why the rough surface? Why not smooth surface? Because this will allow us to know where the road boundary is before actually going to the road boundary. If there is a road boundary and I am in drowsy condition, I am a bit sleepy in the morning, and I am riding through this carriageway, and somehow if I fall asleep, there is a shoulder which will give me a cushion. If I am riding a shoulder, it will give me a bump ride. So because of this bump ride, I'll get aware of the condition, and I'll get back into my consciousness and will drive my vehicle on the carriageway. So this helps us to define the road boundaries. Now this shoulder, as this is a very rough surface, we need a certainly more steeper slope in terms of camber. We saw what is camber. Camber is a slope provided in order to allow the water to drain off, the rainwater to drain off. The slope is provided on the type of pavement and the rainfall condition. The rainfall condition for carriageway will be same for the shoulder also. So here, if we talk about shoulder, shoulder will be having 0.5% steeper camber, and the minimum camber provided will be at least 3%. So the specification about the shoulder are: shoulder is a emergency lane. It can be provided as an emergency lane in condition of congestion. Then surface is comparatively rough. If we compare the surface of shoulder with the pavement surface itself, camber provided is 0.5% steeper. Desirable width of shoulder is 4.6 meter to a minimum recommendation of 2.5 meter for a 2-lane rural road. So these are the specifications provided by IRC. So you should remember the desirable width of shoulder should be 4.6 meter and minimum recommended width can be 2.5 meters. Then there are parking lanes. There should be separate parking space made on the highways or nearby the highways. We should not allow vehicle to park on the highway itself. It will reduce the space provided on the carriageway and it will cause congestion. So a minimum width of 3 meter for a parking lane should be provided. There are various kind of parking. We'll study the type of parking or the arrangement of parking in our traffic engineering. But you should consider this is the road boundary, this is the vehicle. If we park our vehicle in such a way that this road boundary is parallel to the vehicle, then it is considered to be the safest option because it will allow or give extra more space for the running vehicle. So this will be a safest option nearby the highways. That's why it is said that parallel parking preferred for safety of moving vehicles. Then another very important condition or space provided is bus bays. What are bus bays? Let's look into a diagram. You can see this diagram, the third one. You can have a look on this highway. This is Jaipur Road or Bikaner Highway. There are two lanes provided here, 1 and 2. If you see, in between there is a divided margin, but another space or another arrangement provided here is this diversion. The road is diverted here and then again merge here, and here we can see a bus stop. So what arrangement is this? This arrangement is known as the bus bay itself. If this is a lane provided, there will be a separate space for buses, passenger vehicles to come and allow the boarding and deboarding of the passengers. So if this is a road, this will be extra lane, this will be the bus stop, and this will again will get merged into your initial or the main road. You see, it is not safe to allow passengers to board or deboard on the road itself, because if there is a bus stops on the road, it will reduce the space or reduce the space of width of carriageway and it will cause accident. Now to reduce this condition, as we initially decided, the objective of geometrical design is to minimize the accident, we should provide a bus bay. So this is known as a bus bay. So now we are talking about various features. In the first picture, you can see a shoulder where if it is the lane, the space provided here, it is rough as compared to the pavement surface, and it can be useful to tell us about the road boundary because the surface or the rough surface will give us a bumpy ride. So this space can be used as an emergency lane, and this has a rough surface, so it will be a safety cushion. So this space is known as a shoulder. In second image, you can see that there is a white and black stone arrangement. So these stones are known as curbs. These can be provided on the median side and can be provided on the footpath side. Where the footpath is provided, these type of stones are provided on footpath side. Also, the space between here is the median. So you can certainly say that this carriageway is a dual carriageway. Another arrangement here provided is guard rails. What does these do? These guard the vehicle to go away from the road. It protects the vehicle to go away from the road. These rails are provided in order to define the boundary in condition of a accident or a severity. There should be footpath where the pedestrian traffic is huge. If it is comparable with the vehicular traffic, there should be a footpath provided with a minimum width of 1.5 meter. A service road is additional road which is provided parallel to the main road. This service road helps us to allow some of the traffic to divert, because if they want to divert or they want to stop for something, some emergency or something, they can use that space for diversion or whatever purpose they want to use. So a service lane can be provided parallel to the highways or expressways for utility. Guardrails we already talked about. They works as barriers against the coming vehicle during the accidents. Width of formation. We saw in the diagram that width of formation is the space from shoulder to shoulder, from the edge of the shoulder to edge of the shoulder. So if we say there is shoulder, there is carriageway, there is median, again carriageway, and then shoulder. So this space is known as width of formation, and this space should be defined properly in order to make the arrangement of required lanes. So IRC provides us a certain width which should be provided on the roads for these arrangements. For national highways and state highways, for plain and rolling terrain, the roadway width or the width of formation can be provided as 12 meters. For state highways, where there is no chance of expansion in future, this roadway space or road width can be reduced to 9 meter. Similarly, for mountainous and steep terrain, the width can be equal to 6.25 meters to 8.8 meters. 6.25 meters for a single lane and 8.8 meters for dual lane. Then MDRs, ODRs, the value are given. Most important value is 12 meter. Generally, these type of values are not asked directly in gate examination, but in regional examinations or center level examinations, where elimination is the main criteria of the exam, there these type of values can be asked. For gate examination, you can leave these values, just focus on concepts or formulas and calculations, but somewhere you will need values like reaction time. So I'll definitely inform you beforehand what to remember and what not to remember. In next class, we'll start with side distances. Side distance is a very important concept. So let's meet in the next class.